So this applies directly to Christianity, okay, and shouldn't be made by analogy applying to all religions. So this anti-religion sentiment should actually, you shouldn't call it an anti-Christian sentiment. That's not a good thing. But I'm saying that things need to be put into context. And then religious bias in classrooms is unconstitutional. So that's another thing. Is that look, if you replace this theory of evolution and you stop teaching in a high school classroom, then the legitimate question arises that what are you going to teach? You're going to teach what's known as creationism. Now, if you're going to teach creationism, and there's going to be that extra spin of Christianity coming in there because we live in like a lot of teachers are Christian, for example. We live in a country where there's a lot of Christians. So they're going to be teaching that, and now we got a problem. We're stepping on the Constitution, which, people do anyways. Very important people, as you know. They do that anyways, but we don't want to do that just to be fair, just to be consistent. So what are you going to teach? You're going to teach something specific, and that's unconstitutional. And this is one of the major reasons why people will continue to support this theory and say, no, we need to go with this in our high schools, because if you don't, then you're going to be teaching religion in the classroom. And that's unconstitutional. But there's something that is important that people don't really realize. People may not want to admit it, but atheism is actually a religion. It's a worldview, it's a paradigm. Whether you want to it depends on how you use the word religion or not. I'm sure the Atheist Club will have some insight on that. But if you're not teaching, if you're teaching something, you're teaching a model which will lead you generally to some certain conclusions. Okay, so that's an important thing to understand. Then reasons, classroom conditioning. I didn't really have time to fully develop this slide, but if you just take a look at one book, Icons of Evolution, Science or Myth, why much of what we teach about evolution is wrong, just look at the table of contents here, and what you see certain things that you will probably have studied, or you've probably at least heard of, and you realize that these are some major problems that are being taught, that are still being taught today, and it shouldn't be taught, basically. It shouldn't be taught because there's some major problems in this. Miller-Urey experiment, Archaeopteryx, as we've already discussed, peppered moths, also known as industrial melanism, Darwin's finches, from ape to human, the ultimate icon, fossil horses, discovered evolution, all these things. So, and then he continues and he has the evaluation of 10 recent biology textbooks. And I don't know, maybe if you check your UCI bookstore, if you check some of the books as well, you'll see certain things as well. Now, there's a law in many states in America. There's a law in many states that actually the textbooks have to be up to date. They have to be up to date, and any scientific findings that are overturned, they need to immediately be updated. But generally, that's not being done. Last reason is propaganda. Okay, propaganda is in many forms: music, movies, news, scientific tabloids, everything. So if we don't have too much time to read this fast. Like if you look at, for example, just to give you an example, let's say you listen to a lot of music. Okay, whatever style you listen to. It doesn't make a difference. Let's say you listen to 311. Okay, you got a song here. Okay, it comes along and says every life form is based on the simplicity. The soul that you have is electricity. You can't avoid that. Evolution is fact. We're all from the same Lucy. Despite differences you see. If you keep hearing that song over and over, that becomes your favorite song because whatever you like, the distortion on the guitar, or whatever it is, whatever it is, you get that idea gets implemented in your mind. And what you have, you can't avoid that. So basically, you can't avoid that. So you have to live up to it. You've got to deal with this thing. Don't try and pass this off. Evolution is fact. Okay? Evolution is fact. That's basically what is being implanted in your mind. Okay? Now, even most evolutionists, even most professors, they won't make such a claim, such a bold claim. But they're saying it anyways. They say, we're all from the same Lucy. Say, well, what's the first question? If you really studied, say, we're all from the same Lucy, but look at all those differences. Say, despite the differences you see, they already answered your argument. So whatever you're thinking, they already got there before you. So it's very clever, their tabloid-like style, because what they bring so much, junk journalism that even the scientific community is attacking them, saying you've really reached an all-time low. Because you're just trying to sell your magazine. So if you see like someone finds a fossil or something and say, is this your face, or is this a transitional form, and you finally discovered everything, then you're gonna read this article and it's really nicely presented and it's cool. But you know what? We're supposed to be more educated than that. We don't just buy into everything. Even at the same time they're publishing the article, the own professor, probably who discovered the thing, he would say, you know what? Don't jump the gun yet. We haven't conclusively done anything, but they're ready to sell the story. So it becomes more like a tabloid. And then you got Professor Xavier in X-Men, as you know. I know this is X-Men 3, but it's actually the quote from from X-Men 1. The mutation, it just looked cooler. So Professor Xavier is saying mutation, it is the key to our evolution. It has enabled us to evolve from a single-celled organism into the dominant species on the planet. This process is slow and normally taking thousands and thousands of years, but every few hundred millennia evolution moves forward. So the same ideas are propagated in movies, many movies. It's not just X-Men, it's Planet of the Apes, and you can figure out there's many movies out there which incorporate the concept. So if it makes sense, if it kind of I don't know, it'll have some kind of impact on you generally. If you live in a society where this is what you're seeing all day generally, then you're influenced by the theory. So all I'm saying is that you shouldn't necessarily buy into everything just because of the influences that you're receiving. The effects of this theory on the individual and society. I'm just going to talk about the first point because I didn't really develop this slide fully. That's discrimination. This is relevant to all UCI students. Okay, all students in all universities. And just look at a quote from Professor Dawkins, for example. He said, "I was reminded of the creationist student who, through some accident of the selection procedure, was once admitted to the zoology department at Oxford University." Now, Professor Dawkins is in the zoology department. He had been educated at a small fundamentalist college in the United States. Okay, so obviously he doesn't like this guy. Now keep in mind, if you want to go to certain schools, or if you want to get into a research department at certain schools, you will be interviewed. Okay, and especially the more prestigious schools, you'll be interviewed. Now just imagine if they ask you the question and you decide to take a different stance on it. What's going to happen? Accident, by some accident of the selection procedure, meaning you're not going to be selected. It doesn't matter what you've done, it doesn't matter how capable you are, it doesn't matter what grades you get, there's a discrimination that's going to take place because you're not accepting this paradigm, and you have to accept the paradigm, otherwise you're not going to be accepted. So this is just one effect, and it's something really important to keep in mind, especially for students. And this is something that needs to be addressed. It's not something that should be there. Effects that each model has on life. The two models that we mentioned before, creation and evolution. So what does each model have? So evolution, the model has that man is an accident. So the human being is an accident by chance. There's no purpose except the purpose that he invents. So it's important because if you're an accident and you're a chance and you originated, you just came about by chance formation, then you have no real purpose in life except the purpose you invent. So the purpose of life is relative. So you define it. If you want your purpose in life to be, sitting at home all day and watching TV for 10 hours, that becomes your goal in life. That becomes your purpose, your absolute purpose. And that's relative initially. And then what the other side says, it says man was deliberately created and designed by some supernatural deity, which we call God. It's an absolute purpose in life. So that you were actually designed for a purpose. There's actually something that you have in life. Some people, these people, at least there's been this concept that people, what are you doing? I'm traveling the world, I'm searching for the meaning of life, I'm searching for the purpose of life. That doesn't apply in the first model. It only applies in the second model, because this first model, whatever you define your purpose as, that's what your purpose is going to be. Then comes moral relativism. Now some people may debate this, but anyways, moral relativism is basically saying is that we're going to define it. We're going to define morals. We're going to define everything, and we socially construct